So today we finally get to polish the George I chest of drawers, but before we start polishing we're just going to colour in the patches and repairs. Now we're using Van Dyke crystals, which is a water-based natural walnut based stain, and we find that's the best stain for using on walnut, and it will help blend in the repairs. All the corners that we repaired and the feather banding, we did use a lighter coloured timber so that we can bring the colour up with the stain as close a match as we can to the original finish. Now we have to make sure that we don't get any stain on the original finish, because that is the original colour and it's taken 300 years to turn this faded colour. So we're just going to colour in all the corners, and that'll help hide the patches that we put in. Now we will be using an orange flake shellac, and we'll be adding 3 or 4 coats of shellac to the chest of drawers, and we will be cutting back between each coat with 240 grit paper and 0 grade steel wool. That way we can just get a nice colour with a nice finish, and we'll just add some beeswax for some protection at the end. Now, there was quite a lot of repairs on the drawers. As you can see, all these corners we had to redo. They'd all been broken. Over the years the drawers would have been pulled out and banged on the corners, and all the little bits of veneer fell off, and people stuck all sorts of wood on the corners. So we've just pulled all the old repairs off and we've put in some nice walnut. Now we're going to put on our first coat on the side, and again, when this was made, this would have been a dark brown colour. The framing around the side there would have been a dark brown with black lines in it, and the centre panels would have been a dark brown. So over the period of 300 years the chest has faded to this colour, and we're not going to mess with that colour. We're just going to try and maintain the original finish as much as we can. And we will be putting 3 coats on the chest and cutting back between each coat as well. So we will get a few runs at first, but that's not going to matter, as we will be cutting everything back. The main thing we want to do is we want to fill that grain with shellac. Now with the top we had over 60 pieces that we had to glue down. It really was a mess, the top. It was badly cratered and split, and there was little mountains with air underneath them everywhere. So we're just using a thicker polish for the first coat, and we're just brushing that shellac into all the cracks, all the grain. And shellac is like a glue, and it will help to bond and hold the veneer together. Again, we'll probably have to go for 4 coats on the top. Again, just filling all the cracks with polish and then just cutting back between the coats. We have a little piece here that's a bit loose in the center, so we've just packed a lot of shellac underneath it, and we'll just keep tapping that down with our finger until it gets tacky, and then that'll stick that little patch down as well. Again, we can't sand the top, so we just have to try and get everything stuck down as well as we could. Now this bracket foot was totally broken, and you can see how we repaired that in the previous videos. There is a playlist so you can see how we progressed on this chest. Now this chest does turn different colours depending where you position it, what light you have on the actual chest. So indoors it would be a more brown colour, and outdoors it's a sort of more of a goldeny yellow colour. And all this cross banding across the front, we've got a polish as well. The main thing is we want to seal all the cracks so no air gets underneath the veneer, and try and stop any more pieces from falling off. And again with the drawers we'll just go 3 coats, and we will cut back with steel wool and 240 grit sandpaper between coats. We like to use orange flake shellac. It does give the furniture a really nice warm glow. This piece was extremely faded, so it'll just add that richness of colour without affecting the patination. In fact, you could just see there on where the handles were on how much darker the timber is, because the light has not been getting to that part of the drawer, and those are only reproduction handles. Now if you look at the top, we've got it all stuck down now. This is what it was like before. It was all blistered up. It was terrible, and when we stripped it, it was even worse. But we've got everything stuck down now, and we're just going to keep filling all the cracks and grain with shellac and just keep smoothing that out. And again, just get some shellac on the other side. And we're not going to film as polishing all the chest for every coat. It just gives you an idea of how many coats that we are putting on the chest. Now we're going to burnish back. We do have 3 coats on these drawers now, and as you can see, as we are using the 0 grade steel wool with lots of pressure, we're just cutting down that top surface to where we filled the grain, and now we've got a really nice smooth finish that we can apply some wax to. Again, this is something that we do between each coat. It's time consuming to do this process, but this is what we find gives the old furniture the most traditional look. And now we have some 4.0 grade steel wool, a good quality steel wool that's very smooth to the touch, and that's just going to give us that sort of nice satin finish. And now we're going to use some medium to dark wax, a good quality beeswax, and we're going to start applying the wax to all parts of the drawer. And we are working at night at the moment as well. It's been extremely hot during the days, so we've been trying to do a lot of this at night when it's cooler. Again, we're just adding lots of pressure and just getting those really nice and smooth to the touch. Again, in with the beeswax. Now we generally will put 2 to 3 coats of beeswax on, and we have to leave it for a day, sometimes a couple of days, just for the wax to harden up a bit. And then we burnish the beeswax back as well before adding another coat of wax. And now we're just going to burnish the side. Now it does look quite yellow at the moment because it is underneath a light, and we are at night time here. But that is the colour that's taken 300 years to produce that patination. Like I said, the original colour would have been dark brown, so we definitely don't want to sand it. And again, 4/0 steel wool, get it nice and smooth. And again, it's beautiful how they've book matched the two timbers on the side there as well. Now the top does look a different colour because we are now outside, and it is the next day, and the top has had 4 coats, and we're cutting back the last coat now. Again, we're using lots of pressure, and we're just removing all the high spots and rubbing right down to where we filled the grain. Now by filling the grain with shellac, you do get a beautiful reflectivity from the timber, and we don't like to use a grain filler. We think that just kills the reflectivity. So there is a lot of rubbing involved, but it's worth it to get those results. And if you went back to the first video and seen what that top looked like, you'd see what a mess it was. And at one stage there, we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to save it. Now we're getting in with the wax again. The sides are quite faded, probably been near a window many times with the light shining in. But they look really nice when the chest is upright. And that top now is nice and flat. All the veneer is stuck down. There will be a few little splits here and there, but all these chests look like that. All part of its character, as we say. Bringing it back to its former glory. So there she is. Now it has been raining, so we've just run it out quickly because it did stop slightly, and we have got some dust still down there on the bottom moulding, so we'll have to wipe that off in the next frame. But yeah, the colour is spectacular, and it looks a lot better in real life than it does trying to film it on my phone. that top is really nice and flat, and it has such a beautiful glow. It's just like gold. 300 years old, and we've sent it back with another chance for maybe another 300 years. Now, all that section at the bottom there, all that moulding we replaced, all that section around the corner we replaced. We are 120 hours into this restoration, and we still have a few little fiddly bits that we still have to finish before we send it off. Now, there is a playlist for all the videos of this restoration from start to finish. The link will be in the description, so you can just click straight on that for the playlist. And again, we are in very, very bright light as well. It is summer in Australia. It's extremely hot, extremely humid, and we can't have this chest out for too long because it is starting to rain. So we're not going to put it on the floor, and you can see all the dust down there. We'll just wipe all that off, and it's got a bit of rain on the side. So all that stretch at the bottom there was replaced, and that's about it. Now, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. We do have some more interesting pieces that will be coming up, so you'll get a notification if you're subscribed of our new and upcoming pieces. Now, all the drawers that we just left original, we wiped them out with some turpentine just to soften the wax up in the drawers and make them nice and clean. And all the drawers work perfectly as well now. They all sit square to the frame. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.